Hi, so in this video we're going to talk about finding the reciprocal of numbers. So this is an idea or a word, I guess, that gets kind of tossed around, and I'm not 100% sure that everyone's happy with its meaning. So a reciprocal, by definition, is what you would times a number by, or what you would multiply a number by to get it to equal 1. So for example, if I have 2 and I want to find the reciprocal of 2, I need to think 2 times something will be equal to 1. And 2's reciprocal will be whatever this is. But of course, we know how to solve this. We just divide both sides by 2. So doing this, dividing both sides by 2, I get that this question mark here, this missing term, is equal to 1/2. And then repeating this again for something like 3. So 3 times, and I'm going to call the missing term x this time. So 3 times x equals 1. So 3 times something equals 1. So the reciprocal of 3 being whatever x is, because it's 3 times by something equaling 1. So I divide both sides by 3, and I get that x equals 1/3. So from this, we can kind of see a pattern here. So you can probably guess that with the reciprocal of 2 being 1/2, the reciprocal of 3 being 1/3, and so on, you can see that if I've got n, for example, the reciprocal of n would be, as you could probably guess, 1/n, but let's check this. So n times some number, x, is equal to 1, x being the reciprocal. So dividing both sides by n, I get that x equals 1/n. So for standard integers, so standard whole numbers, its reciprocal is given by 1 over it, pretty much. And that's how we get a reciprocal of a number. But let's now look at something a bit more interesting. So let's look at a number like 4/5, for example. So this is a fraction. How do I find the reciprocal of a fraction? Well, I need to times it by something. So let's times it by x overall, and then that's equal to 1. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rearrange this so that it's going to be equal to x and find what the reciprocal of x would be. So I'm going to times both sides by 5. So timesing both sides by 5. Hang on. Yeah, move that into the picture a bit. Yeah, there you go. So timesing both sides by 5, I get that 4 times x is equal to 5. And then dividing both sides by 4, I get that x is equal to 5/4. So the reciprocal of 4/5 is 5/4, which is interesting. And we can test that a little bit, actually. So taking 4/5 times by 5/4. So if you know how to multiply fractions, you know that you multiply the tops and you multiply the bottoms. So by that, I mean the numerator and the denominator. So that's 20/20, and any number divided by itself is equal to 1. So indeed, the reciprocal of 4/5 is 5/4. And we can kind of repeat this procedure for similar fractions, which I'll do now. So let's try something similar. So again, remembering that when you multiply fractions, you have a over b times c over d. You get ac over bd. So you're just multiplying them together. You just multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. So as you can see, realistically, if you've got something like 3/5, for example, if you times that by 5/3, it's always going to give you the same number on top. So 3 times 5 will give you 15, and then 5 times 3 is 15, which is then equal to 1, which, as you can see, is then equal to 1. So again, the reciprocal of 3/5 is 5/3, because that's what you need to times by to equal 1. And from this, we can kind of deduce how to find the reciprocal of a fraction, right? So we just flip it. So, for example, the reciprocal of a 5th would be 5/1, which is just 5, and then so on. So let's do another one. Let's do 2/3. So the reciprocal of 2/3 would be 3/2, and so on. This is a kind of quick and easy way to find reciprocals of numbers. So that'll be all for now.